Hey, in this episode of Ask Aaron, I want to share with you some insights into what smart e-commerce brands are doing right now to grow. I've got 6 examples for you from our client portfolio, some really great ideas that you can take and deploy into your brand. Let's get into it. So the first thing that we are working with our clients to do that is very smart is creating leveraged content. What do I mean by this? It's content that you create once that is leveraged and will add value and help your brand to grow indefinitely, for months, for years ahead. And it's very, very smart. A lot of brands fall into the trap of creating fresh content, and it's content for the sake of content, and it's content that goes up on social media, it's content that goes on your blog, it's content that goes out across all of your marketing channels, on your email, etc. And the trouble with a lot of content that a lot of brands create is it's created today and it's forgotten tomorrow. And this is very, very common, and I'm sure you can relate to this. What we're seeing and what we're advising our clients and what we're working with them to do is saying, what previously, historically, has been your best performing content? What content can we create, regardless of the medium, the way we get it out, whether it's video, whether it's written, whether it's creative, whether it's visual, that is secondary. What value can we add where we take the time and we genuinely put the effort and the resource into creating something once? Make sure it's best on the web. Make sure it's genuinely high value, that it beats whatever else is out there. And you can do your research to get a sense of where the baseline is. Create it once and then make sure and then you can leverage it again and again and again. So if it's really genuinely good stuff, you can put it onto your blog, onto your website, and you can repurpose it across your social channels, not just once, but you can do it time and time again. Very simple, but it's very, very effective. And we're seeing brands do it. And it's great because it means they can put the time and effort into creating something, and then they can repurpose it again. And then every 2 or 3 months, they can re-push it out there. Or if it's evergreen content, which you know I love to talk about, if it's evergreen content and it's maybe based on seasonality, then every summer they can push the same guide. Or every, Christmas period, they can push the same resources, and so on and so forth. So what content can you be creating that you can leverage, that you can think, I can use this now, I can use this in 3 months, I can use this time next year. And that's using it for promotion, to gain links, to gain exposure, to get brand mentions. It's using it across your email. It's using it across your social media to just add value, genuinely help your target customer, and get your brand in front of the ideal customer that's going to buy your product, engage with your services, and so on. So just if you're not creating leveraged content that you create once and adds value, just have a think about what could you do? What would that look like? It's what the smart e-commerce brands are doing right now, and we're only going to be seeing more and more of it. That's the first thing. Second, we're seeing we're working with our clients to focus on specific channels. It's all too easy to just fall into that trap of that shiny object syndrome of, there's always a new channel, there's always something new that's, okay, I'm going to go and try this, I'm going to go and experiment that, and you spread yourself too thin. So we're looking at all of our clients and we're saying, what are the 2 or 3 channels that are working best for your brand? And let's focus everything on those in terms of resource, in terms of budget. Let's just really double down on those channels. And it varies client to client. But we're really saying, let's leverage what works and let's get the most from that, because often it's easier to increase your conversion rate by 0.5% or 1% than it is to get even more eyeballs and then send them through the journey, multiple touch points and so on. If we can just leverage, if we can focus on those channels and then work out, well, how do we get an extra 1% conversion rate on that? How do we nudge this or how do we nudge that? And you can often then, increase your sales, your leads, and so on. Very powerful stuff. But it comes from focusing less is more, essentially. So which are the channels working best for you? How do we get more from those channels? Really leverage them. And then once we're resourcing that and that's working very, very well, maybe look at casting a wider net, rather than we're across 10 different channels. We've got 10 different marketing focuses. We're trying to do a bit of everything, which we see a lot. And we always kind of go, well, let's cull those 6 and focus on these 2 or 3. So that's the second thing that smart e-commerce brands do is less is more. The third thing they're doing, building their lists. So important, this one. And all the smart e-commerce brands are doing this. So if you're not, or if you're doing it and it's not as much of a focus as it should be, then this needs to be key. Build your list. What I mean by this is your email list. So make sure that's the only data. You don't own the data on Facebook or Meta. You don't own your visibility on Google. You don't own the ads. Someone else can bid more than you and they can beat you. What you can own is your email list. So make sure you're building that customer list. You are giving stuff away. I mean, the bar is just increasingly being raised when it comes to, you need to give away way more now than you did 2 or 3 years ago to get that email, to get that person to sign up. So you've got to embrace that. It might be, if you're e-commerce, it might be offers, it might be discounts, it might be, there's lots of creative ways you can go about it. It might just be an added value. It might just be, there's all sorts of incentives and ways that you can encourage people to sign up. So it's work on that and make it a priority of, we need to build our list. Be clear on, right now we've got 10,000 people in our email list, and then work out how that correlates back to revenue being made per month, per year, and then go, well, what happens if we've got 15,000, 20,000, 50,000, and so on. So building your list, your email list is key. And on that, also building a focus for us over the last couple of years that we've implemented across so many brands that we would have thought had this, but they didn't. Remarketing, retargeting, so key. And it brings us on to one of the later points that I'll go over, but make sure that you've got all of your remarketing set up properly so that you can, it's a little bit more with the iOS updates and all of the the various updates, privacy stuff over the last couple of years, but it can still absolutely be done. So make sure you are leveraging it across Google, across Meta, so you have the ability to keep your brand top of mind. It's easily done, but it's very easily and often overlooked, or it's been kind of half done, and we think that's in place, but we're not quite sure, and we're certainly not leveraging it. We had a client recently where we got into it. They had the pixel and the tracking on their website, thankfully, but they weren't leveraging that. So they had thousands of people sitting in these audiences, but they weren't leveraging it. They weren't going out and utilizing it anything like as well as they could, and they now are, and they're seeing the fruits from that. So make sure you're building your email list, your retargeting list. It's what the smart brands are doing. The next sort of thing that we're seeing and we're working with our clients to do is really develop, and this is where more our technical team are doing this, is really developing a deep understanding of your customer. It's so noisy now. Every industry seems to be so competitive. There's so much going on. To gain attention from your target customer is harder than it's ever been. So the way to do that is to develop a deep understanding of your customer. Who are they? That customer avatar. Who exactly are they? At a deeper level than just, male, female, location. Go deeper than that. Really get into the nuts and bolts of who exactly they are. What are their pain points? You want to know as much as you can about them. And you can, the great thing about digital marketing, you can leverage so many data points to be able to capture some of this. And again, and a big part of this is building. They're all interlinked, all these things. So your email list, you can nurture that over time, and you can slowly extract more and more information to really get to know your customer. You can nurture that relationship. And we're seeing clients that are, so much of their growth is being leveraged because we're having a compounding effect as we're getting to know that customer better. So a big part of SEO is, a lot of people, when they think of SEO and PPC, it's all about top of funnel, drive greater brand awareness, get more customers to know of our brand. And of course, that is a key component of this. But the other side of it is actually, which is the lesser talked about side of things, is how do we get more from our existing audience? How do we get more from our the people that are already visiting our website, they're already buying our product or have bought our product? That's in nurturing your email list. That's in your ability to retargeting. And you can do a better job of all of those things if you have a deeper understanding of your customer. Who exactly are they? What exactly do they want? What you can almost then start to predict when they're going to buy, what they're going to buy, why they're going to buy it. And you can tap into that. And some of the stuff the guys are doing here is incredible in terms of how smart they are. The ideas they're coming up with and the way they're building evergreen funnels, which is actually a thing we talk about, is building evergreen funnels, and I come on to that in a minute. So just developing a deep understanding of your customer and leveraging your data, absolutely key. And then another thing we're doing is investing in getting our clients to invest in long-term strategies. It's very tempting, especially when the economy is the way it is and all of the stuff's going on. It's very tempting for brands to invest in, that quick fix, that I'm just going to run ads because that generates me clicks now. And it does to an extent. But what we're doing, and we sometimes have to fight quite hard to get a client on board with this. We've had a couple of fantastic examples, one of which I'm sort of going to mention now, is we try and get our clients to understand the longevity, think long term and think about what's best for the brand in the long term. And so one of our clients, I can't name them, but one of our clients in the home and garden space, they came to us. They had put all their eggs for years in the paid basket. Now, we looked at the data and we've spent the last few months massively improving that side of things. But what we did is we said to them, look, we need to be thinking long term, because paid is great, but we're too reliant on that. So we working with them, and their directors, their board ultimately went on to approve this and sign it off, and we're very grateful for that, because we know it's going to be the right thing for their brand in the long term. Is they took a sizable chunk of their budget, and their marketing budget is in the hundreds of thousands of pounds per year. They took six-figure sum from that budget out of paid and put it into SEO, essentially into an organic content marketing strategy that is long-term. That is not going to provide a return in year one, anything like what it will in year 2 and year 3 and year 4. That, my friends, is what smart brands are doing, and it will absolutely pay dividends. And I put up regularly on the social networks, LinkedIn and so on, that the examples, I do screenshots quite regularly where I go, look at this client's up. Almost every single time when I'm showing that growth, it's because in the year 2, 3 prior, they were smart and they listened to what we were saying. They, accepted and acknowledged what we were telling them and why we were telling them and what we were evidencing, and they invested in it. They trusted us. They worked with us, and now they're seeing the fruits of that. They're seeing the benefits. So that's what the smart brands are doing, is looking at the here and now, because you've got to pay the bills, you've got to bring in the sales now, but take a portion of your budget and a portion of your resource and your headspace. Think long term. It requires an investment. It's very, very lucrative. And I absolutely know that will pay dividends for them in a year. This time next year, they'll be going, okay, our reliance on paid is diminishing, our organic is going. And the great thing about organic and SEO and content marketing is you're not paying per click. You have that residual benefit. And once Google sees you as an authority in your space, then you start to rank for not just keywords. You rarely catch me talking about keywords. I talk about topics, because once Google sees you as an authority for a topic, and that might be a category of product, it might be a service, it might be a whole industry, it might be a sector, it might be a whatever, right? Once Google sees you as an authority for that, it has a funny correlation, because a high tide raises all the boats. So it raises your brand's profile for those topics, right? And you start to rank, and then you're getting the benefits of that. Clicks 24/7, and you're not having to pay. So your budget is not running out, and then your ads aren't resetting for the next day and so on, right? So it's that's what the smart brands are doing. So just consider that, think about it. Could we be doing this? Should we be doing more of it? What is the long-term strategy? And then the last one, the sixth one, is which kind of ties into some of the others I've already mentioned, but cross-channel marketing funnels. Now, the good news is, with the rollout of GA4, this just got a heck of a lot easier, because the ability to track across domains just got so much easier. So one thing that with UA, the old Google Analytics, it was always quite difficult, and you could do it, but it was a few more wires had to be connected. With GA4, it's just got a lot easier, which is just a little byproduct. It's a good thing. But what I mean by cross-channel marketing funnels is you map the user, your target customer, across the different touch points that your brand has. So once you've identified the 2, 3, 4 channels that you want to focus on, once you've built in that the core aim is to build your email list, build your retargeting list, once you've started creating that leveraged content and you're really getting the brand out there, and once you've developed that deep understanding of your customer, then what you need to do is map out, and we've got a whiteboard in this very room. We will literally draw out and go, right, what is the typical interactions of that customer? Because for the most part, your customers are going to be, they're going to be going onto Google at some point during their journey. They're probably going to be getting referral references. They might be seeing your ads, your display, your search ads. They're probably going to be across social media at some point, and different channels at different times of the day. It's going to be different on the weekend to what it is during the weekday. They're going to have different interactions. So you need to almost map that and think of it as an evergreen funnel of how do we serve that content and make it relevant and make it useful and actionable at the right time for the right customer on the right platform in the right way with the right call to action. And so increasingly what we've been doing over the last couple of years is not looking at, right, this is the SEO, or this is the content, or this is the Google ad, but actually kind of expecting and anticipating that that customer is going to potentially see all of those things. And then it's kind of working out, well, what are we going to serve them here, and what is going to work best for them there? And you don't always get it right. That's why you've got a split test. But if you're thinking about cross-channel marketing and building it into a funnel and understanding, this is where it goes into developing deep understanding, is what is the consideration phase for someone buying your product? Is it a rational purchase or a non-rational purchase? Is it something that they will think about over a number of weeks, or is it something they will just go and buy immediately? Is it something where they're going to need to build that know, like, and trust, or is that less important for your brand, your product? Thinking about all of these things will enable you to map a marketing funnel that encompasses all of these things. And then if you know that, well, we've got great content to serve them here, and we can capture their email here, and we can get this information from here, and we can serve this value here, suddenly you're able to create a 6, 8, 10 multiple touch funnel and you'll capture different people, and then you can reverse engineer your analytics, your tracking, to see lots of people join there, lots of people drop there, people are doing this, people are doing this, and you can mirror and catch all of this user data, and then use it to further improve, run some split tests, and so on and so forth. So those are just a few examples of all of those we are actively doing with our e-commerce brands, every single one of those points, and we're having some really smart conversations. And the team here, what they're doing, I sort of listen in sometimes to the conversation. I'm just like, wow, because it's so clever, it's so smart. So just to recap quickly, make sure or think about things you could deploy into your brand. Are you creating leverage content, right? Are you, focused on too many channels? Do you need to actually slim it down and go, this and this is working for us, and let's just really focus on these, get these right before we then, go think about everything else? Are you building your email list, your retargeting list? Have you got a really genuinely deep understanding of your customer? That is absolutely vital. Are you thinking and investing in a long-term strategy as well as the here and now? Because you need to be doing both. You need to be short-term sales, long-term sales. And then have you mapped the user, taking all of the above, have you mapped that into thinking about a multi-channel, multi-interaction user flow that your typical customer is going to take? Because I promise you, very rarely will you be getting, there are a few exceptions, but very rarely will most brands be getting a customer with one interaction. When was the last time you bought a product where the first interaction the first time you saw an ad, or the first time you Googled something, or the first time you saw something on social media, you went, I'm going to go and buy that? If it's a few pounds, you might. But for most brands, for most products, there's a consideration phase, and there's, you've got to keep your brand top of mind. You've got to keep just popping up. Hey, we're still here. You've got to build that know, like, and trust. And by doing all of those things that I've listed, those 6 key things that the smart brands are doing, that's how your brand can grow. So I hope that's useful. I hope it's given you at least 1 or 2 ideas that you can think about, take and deploy into your business. If it has, let me know. I'd love to hear. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do. There's lots more of these videos coming on where I'm just going to go through all sorts of bits and bobs. And as well as the team, they're creating lots of content as well, and lots of videos, which is fantastic. I'm loving that, which is very exciting, because they've got so much expertise to share, and I've been really sort of encouraging them to say, come on, share it. And a bit shy, but they're getting into it, which is great. And if you haven't joined our newsletter, please do, because every Tuesday I send digital marketing tips and updates, which I think you'll find really useful. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care.